I have missed you guys. Thank you so much for your patience while I went on an unexpected hiatus, but I am back and I'm ready to get into some topics here. So, as you come in, let me know you are here. Let me know where you are from in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by and being here on the live. And if you've been on a live before, you know the drill. If you are a returning Aries crew member, leave hashtag Aries crew. If you're a first time watcher, leave first time watcher because I want to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending part of your day here. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Kandi and Todd Tucker. They are one of the more well-known couples on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's not on it currently, but she has been on it in the past, and Kandi had been one of the long-time participants, and they met on that show, and they got married while they were on the show. They had a special just dedicated to their wedding, and they have announced that they will be getting divorced. So we got to get into that, see what's going on there. And Smokey Robinson, the Motown legend, is in another allegation for SA, and this time it is by a male accuser. So we got to see what's going on there. Get your popcorn, get your drinks, get comfortable. We're going to get into some things. We're going to get a little messy over here because over here we get a little messy. If you like talking a little bit about everything, this is the perfect channel for you. Over here we talk about streaming shows, movies, TV shows, world news, local news, politics, basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. So if you enjoy hearing a little bit about everything, we'd love to have you here. Just hit that subscription button and then make sure you hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live. Hit that like button as you come in. It goes a long way and it means a lot for the channel. Let's get into our first story. So let's talk about Kandi and Todd. So they were a couple I really enjoyed watching on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. They always seemed like they genuinely cared and supported each other. They had similar goals. They wanted to be successful. They were branching out and doing entrepreneurship with different restaurants. Looked like they're also dipping their toes in Broadway, and they were doing a show. Kandi had a show she was doing that Todd had helped her to produce. So they definitely were expanding beyond just being on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kandi Burruss is well known as a singer. She first started off her career with Escape. That's a group that came out of Atlanta, and they were big in the 90s R&B group. If you're into that kind of music, you definitely know them. They had a lot of hits like Understanding, Just Kick It. A lot of good songs came from Escape. If you're not familiar with them, you can find their music on YouTube. Go check them out. I think the music still holds up to this day, especially Who Can I Run To? That is one of my favorites to sing along to. Now, I can't sing as well as those ladies, but in my car when it's just me, I'm a Grammy Award winning singer and I sing my heart out to that song. If you are familiar with Escape, let me know what your favorite Escape song is. Like to know what you enjoy listening to or what you liked from that group. But that's where, Kandi came into the mainstream, and one of the music producers that was very instrumental in getting Escape on the music scene and helped them to blow up to become that classic legendary R&B group is Jermaine Dupri. He had a big hand in that. Gonna take a pause for comments. Vibex Edits, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know how your week is going. I appreciate you. We have a leaderboard here on the live, so the more you respond, ask questions, engage on there, the higher you go up on the leaderboard, and we'll definitely give you a shout out here on the live. And then from there, Kandi was able to take that music career that she started with Escape, and she became a very successful music writer, songwriter. So she did Bills, 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 if I'm not mistaken, by Destiny's Child. They were a great group as well. And then she also did No Scrubs by TLC, which was TLC's biggest hit, if I'm not mistaken. And that's probably still paying her to this day. Her and Tiny, another one of her bandmates from Escape, wrote that song together. And I'm sure off those songs alone, they probably never, off that song alone, they never have to work again because it's still heavy rotation, I'm sure, somewhere. It's a very well known TLC song. So Kandi has taken her career and definitely kept it elongated. And she kept herself relevant by being on the Real Housewives of Atlanta as well. So fans got to see a different side of her. Previously, it was just more on the music side, and then she showed more of her family and her personal life on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And on that show, I believe when they took a trip to Africa, that's where and Phaedra Parks, who was previously on that show, I think she's still on it now, but Kandi is not on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I don't watch it like I used to, so let me know if I'm wrong on there. But Phaedra Parks introduced them, or at least got their relationship kind of going, or their friendship meeting each other going, and then from there it kind of blossomed into a relationship that turned into a marriage. And it looked like they were just very happy couple goals. Their wedding was beautiful, but famously, Mama Joyce had an issue with Todd. She just felt like he was coming in there trying to, I guess, take Kandi's money, or he was going to maybe displace her. I'm not 100% sure kind of what her motivation was for not liking him so much, but in the beginning, and you could definitely see it on their wedding special, she was so critical and harsh towards Todd, and kudos to him for hanging in there, because I'm sure that was challenging to be in love with someone. You want to spend your life with them, and then their family or their parent doesn't like you, and they're being very open and maybe sometimes in a way kind of disrespectful in how they are expressing to you that they don't like you. So I can understand that that must have been a very challenging time in their household, but I'm glad they were able to work through that, and they could get to the point where they're sharing a family together, and then they started doing Broadway shows. And I think they did a show that had Denzel Washington. I think it was like Othello on Broadway, and that one was pretty successful. So the couple has had some good ventures, some not so great ventures with the restaurants, but you got to try different things. And it looks like they are now landing at the point in which their relationship is not going to continue. So we're going to take a look here, the article on TMZ about what was going on that caused this, or at least as much as we know now. So this is Kandi Burruss calling it quits with Todd Tucker after 10 years of marriage. Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker are splitting up after nearly 15 years together, according to heartfelt social media post from Kandi. And it's really sad that couples feel like they have to share that information out publicly, especially when you're going through it and you're probably still really emotional. I don't know exactly their dynamic or how long they may have been going in this direction, because there's been rumors that it was trouble in paradise, but those are also just rumors, so you never know. But I always find it sad when you kind of have to put that out there publicly and people are going to weigh in on it, say stuff. But I also understand it's kind of the balance and the price you pay when you are famous, and you get that notoriety and fame from engaging with people and people wanting to know about your life and caring about it. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. Do you think couples should keep that to themselves when they're separating, or should they make announcements like this? And then we got back into this TMZ article. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star shared the news Friday afternoon, telling fans that after much thought and prayer, she's decided to file for divorce. While emotional and difficult time, Kandi says she plans to focus on, quote, protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect, end quote. So they do share two children together, two younger kids that are both between Todd and Kandi. And then Kandi has an older daughter, Riley, I believe is her name, from a previous relationship. But Todd has she's grown up with Todd for quite some time. So I don't know if she considers him a dad or not, but I know he's had some involvement in her growing up and her development as well, because she lived with her mom. Go back into the article here. Burruss says she will pour her time into her family and growing as individuals, into her work, family, and growing as individuals. She thanks everyone for supporting her and Todd over the years, before asking for privacy as the two navigate the difficult circumstances. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ the two separated a few months ago after growing apart for some time, and it's been an amicable split with, quote, legitimately no drama, end quote. Her sources say Kandi stopped wearing her wedding ring recently, but they still talk every day on the phone and when they're in person. Kandi's been staying in New York City recently, while Todd's been taking care of the kids in Atlanta. The couple share 2 children, a 9-year-old son named Ace and a daughter named Blaze, who turns 6 tomorrow. Unclear why these two are splitting, though Kandi's been very busy with her career recently. She's set to star in a Broadway show. It looks like And Juliet's the name of the show, beginning next month and running through early March. Our source says she will not miss any performances of the show despite the split. Let me know what your thoughts are on this couple breaking up. Did you kind of see it coming? Is it surprising to you? Let's keep that conversation going in the comments. The ADHD freak, welcome. I am doing well. How are you? How is your day going? How was your week? Appreciate you stopping by. And now we're going to get into our next story here. And this one is just so heartbreaking to me. My grandma was a huge, 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 huge fan when I was growing up of Smokey Robinson. She thought he was so good looking and she loved his music. She loved the way he sang. And just by nature of her liking him so much, I started to like him. And he's one of my favorite Motown singers. He is a legend. There's nothing that can take that away from him. He has produced some of the most iconic and memorable music, American music, and especially Black music. His imprint, his style, is written all over Motown music. A lot of the legends that came out of Motown, such as the Supremes, the Temptations, Tammy Terrell, and Marvin Gaye, he wrote songs for. He also, and I cannot, it's the ones who, I think it's the Marvelettes who did Hey Mr. Postman. He wrote, now he didn't write that song, but he wrote other songs for that group as well that became really big. So he is not only talented himself, but he also was able to make other singers grow and become popular with his music. So he is definitely the voice of a time, voice of a generation. And he helped shape Motown just as much as Berry Gordy. If you ask me, the two of them were very instrumental to that being as successful as it was. And sadly, he is finding himself in some controversy that in this whole time that I've been alive, I've never really heard of any controversy when it came to Smokey Robinson. It was probably a relatively clean reputation, if you ask me. Never really heard of any dirt. You know, I know he had some instances where he was not 100% to his wife, Claudette, who's his first wife, was a part of his group, The Miracles. That was his original group he had came out with. And that's to be expected. Not okay, but to be expected. He was a good looking man. He was around a lot of other people in close proximity when they're going out on tours with Motown, and you kind of just end up picking out of the environment that you're in. And if your spouse is not with you when you're traveling, it's probably the closest person to you, which is another, singer that was on Motown, or maybe another staff member. But outside of that, you never really heard of anything too bad going on with Smokey Robinson. And then all of a sudden, there's this lawsuit. And I say all of a sudden because to me, it just was the most crazy allegations on a person you never hear anything from. So it just seemed a little outrageous, like I was in the Twilight Zone when it came out. Is when he got a lawsuit against him from 4 former housekeepers that accused him of SA, saying that he touched them inappropriately, made them do things inappropriately, or he did things to them that they didn't like. And this apparently went on for years. And Smokey Robinson is in his 80s now, I believe 85. And these occurred some years back, so he was still older, but not at the age he is now. I think maybe in his 70s or 60s. But there's another allegation that's come out about this, and this time it's a male accuser. The other accusers, the 4 housekeepers, are female. So let's see what's going on here, because I definitely hadn't heard anything in this direction related to him. Not to say that these are any true statements. These are all allegations, but let's get into this story here, because when that came across my news feed here, my mouth dropped. I'm just shocked that this is continuing for him. This is a story from TMZ. Smokey Robinson, new actual battery claim from a man, tried to force my hand on his lower parts once he was excited. If you know what I mean, bear with me. We are on YouTube here, so we are going to be talking around topics, but we're all adults, so you can fill in the blanks, right? And let's get into what this article is saying. Smokey Robinson's newest actual battery accuser is a man who claims the Motown singer once grabbed the guy's hand and tried to force it onto his excited lower half of his body, if you will. Smokey's being accused by four Jane Does, claiming that they used to work as housekeepers for the music star and his wife, Frances Gladney Robinson, who and now two more alleged victims want to join the suit, a fifth Jane Doe and a John Doe. That's not looking good for Smokey. Again, this does not mean that he is guilty. That doesn't give any truth to these allegations until it fully goes through court, and that's either found by a jury or a judge. But to have five people, or now six, six people come out with these allegations, it's just not a good look in general, and I'm sure it's not a pleasant time for him. The conversations he's got to have with lawyers and investigators, because there is, as far as I know, an active investigation that's going on by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department on the four Jane Doe's allegations as well. So he's got a lot going on. According to the new legal docs obtained by TMZ, the male accuser claims he started working for the Robinsons at their Chatsworth residence around 2013. So there's a theme. They all worked for them in his home. He says he would clean and detail their cars early in the mornings, and on numerous occasions, Smokey came outside wearing only his underwear and would touch and fondle his private area in clear view of John Doe. All right. Doesn't sound like the most appropriate way to be engaging or around people that work for you. So I'm a little bit shocked that that's the vibe he was given, or that's what he was doing. That just really shocks me for him. The guy claims Smokey Robinson's actual excitement was vivid and unmistakable during these incidents. So he's saying pretty much it was clear that Smokey was happy to see him, if you will. He also claims Smokey sometimes made actual suggestive gestures and remarks towards him, including beckoning him toward a nearby room, which is a similar accusation from one of the Jane Does as well. He says he would reject Smokey's alleged advances by telling him, quote, put some clothes on, end quote. The guy claims things escalated around 2022 when in one incident, Smokey grabbed the guy's hand, quote, without consent and attempted to force it onto his excited lower part of his body, end quote. After the alleged incident, the guy claims the Robinsons fired him. He says 1 year later, Smokey's wife requested he return to work, and he did. He says Smokey went right back to appearing partially clothed and touching himself and making actually suggestive remarks in his presence. He claims Smokey repeated actual harassment, indecent exposure, and unwanted physical contact resulted in humiliation, emotional distress, and ongoing fear for his safety and dignity. He says he stopped working for the Robinsons after learning of similar conduct towards other victims and out of concern for his own well-being, end quote. Wow, that's a lot. The new Jane Doe wants to join the lawsuit, claims she worked for the Robinsons as a housekeeper. She says on more than 10 occasions, Smokey grabbed her hand and attempted to force her to touch his excited lower half of his body. When the four women sued Smokey in May for actual battery, assault, false imprisonment, and gender violence, his lawyer denied the allegations and chalked it up to a shakedown, which he did. And we did videos on this. So to get caught up, if you're not familiar with the other allegations and other lawsuit he has, you can check out our videos. I will link it on the communities tab as well, so you can get caught up. We reached out to Smokey's camp about the new claims. This is from the TMZ article. So far, no word back. We've also reached out to the victims' attorneys representing the alleged victims, but no word back. There was an update as of 8:23 p.m. Smokey's attorney, Christopher Frost tells TMZ, quote, "These plaintiffs are part of the same group of people who have conspired together against the Robinsons and are laying out their claims for maximum adverse publicity. We have already explained in the Robinsons lawsuit against the group for defamation, civil conspiracy, and elder abuse that all along this has been an organized, avaricious campaign to extract money from an 85-year-old legend. This group of people who hide behind anonymity and their lawyer and their attorneys seek global publicity while making the ugliest of false allegations. We have sought the court's intervention multiple times to require these anonymous individuals to divulge essential information, turn over relevant evidence, and to share deposition transcripts with the district attorney. For obvious reasons, this group of does and their attorneys to refuse to be forthcoming with all the evidence possible to investigate their own claims. Once the public can see the truth, their avaricious motives and fabricated claims will be revealed, end quote. So let me know your thoughts on this. Nadia Durbis, welcome. Appreciate you stopping by. How's your week going? Very sad for him to be at this age and having these types of allegations. I don't know how much of an impact it'll have on whether or not people will like Smokey, because it definitely, at least at this point, hasn't risen to like a Diddy level type of situation. At this point, it is 6 accusers. Not that 6 is okay. 1 is one too many, but it's not so far that we know of on this massive scale, but we'll see where this goes. Definitely keeping an eye out. Very sad on both sides. You know, I want to believe none of this happened and believe that they're innocent. And I also want to believe people would not make these types of allegations and put them in a lawsuit and say these things publicly about somebody, especially of his stature, of his accomplishment, somebody who formally employed you and I would assume, you know, paid, did all the things they were supposed to do, minus this alleged behavior. So I'm hoping that, you know, that's not something that you're just doing for the sake of trying to get money. So we'll see how this shakes out in a court of law. If it makes it that far, either way, you can get your updates here on Aries Rose TV. Let's keep that conversation going in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We'd love to have you a part of the Aries crew. I will be live tomorrow. I'm going to go check out Wicked. Wicked for Good, I think is the name. I really love the first movie and it just came out, so I want to go check it out. I like that opening night feel when you can share that experience with other people. If you like Wicked or you're going to check it out, let me know in the comments as well, and stay tuned for my review on that. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.